Jai Gurudev, dear students. Children, we are studying lesson number 3, Fibre to Fabric. So under this chapter, we have already studied about the wool and wool yielding animals, in which I have explained you how people domesticate different wool yielding animals and what are the different improved varieties, or we can say good Indian breeds of sheep. Okay, and then about other wool yielding animals also I have explained you, like goat, camel, rabbit, yak. Okay, and after that I have taught you about the process of making wool, in which these all the steps we have studied in detail, like shearing, what is scouring, then after scouring, sorting, okay, then how to remove burr, and after that dyeing means coloring, and then how to spin the cloth and weave the cloth, and after that how to finish means give finishing to the fabric or clothes made from wool. So children, up to wool we have completed already. So today we will study from silk. Children, silk is also an important and costly fiber, and it is lustrous also, means it has shine. So silk is an animal fiber obtained from silkworms. It comes from the thread-like filaments that a silkworm spins around itself to form a cocoon. So children, in the junior classes also you have studied about the silk moth or silkworm, and this worm spins a long filament, means thread like structure, which is called a filament, and that filament it spins around its body. Okay, and that is originally white in color, and it is when it wraps this silk filament around itself, then it is called as cocoon. Okay, and at this stage we get silk from silkworm. People who are doing culture of silkworm, they boil the cocoon and then they can get fibers or these filaments of silk. And after that, after so many processes, washing, dyeing, all these, then we can get silk fiber, and from that fiber we can make silk fabric. So let's study about the silk life cycle of silkworm in detail. So a silkworm begins its life as an egg. So children, an adult silkworm, when it lays eggs, that time its life begins and goes through several stages in the transition to change from an egg into a mature silkworm. Means after the egg stage, it will go through many stages, and then again it changes into mature silkworm. Okay, so about all these stages, let's study. The female silk moth lays many eggs. When it lays eggs, after that, when the eggs hatch, larvae crawl out of the eggs. Okay, means from the eggs, the small caterpillar like structure comes out in the form of crawling. Crawling means rengna. Okay, larvae crawl out of the eggs, and the larvae feed on mulberry leaves and grow in size. So children, one thing which you keep it in your mind and remember always, that one tree is called mulberry tree. The leaves of mulberry trees are important for the silk culture, because larvae which comes out from the egg, they are the second stage of silk moth. So larvae always feed the mulberry trees, mulberry leaves. Okay, and silk moth always spend its full life on the mulberry tree, because its larvae need mulberry leaves for food. So when they feed for several days, then they changes, they grow into in some size. The silkworm secretes fine filaments, means when it feeds on the mulberry leaves, after that it grows on grows in size, and then it starts secreting a fine thread like structure which is made up of protein. Okay, and which hardens upon coming in contact with air and becomes silk fibers. So children, जब ये सिल्क वॉर्म जो होता है, मीन्स जो लावा है, जब ये कुछ साइज का बन जाता है, उसके बाद ये फिलामेंट्स को सिक्रीट करता है, एंड ये जो सिक्रीशन होती है, इससे ये प्रोटीन से बनी होती है, और जब ये एयर के कांटेक्ट में आती है तो ये हार्ड होने लगती है, और ये हार्ड स्ट्रक्चर जो होता है, ये सिल्क का फाइबर बनता है इससे. ओके, सो आफ्टर दैट the silkworm deposits layers of these filaments around its body, preparing a cocoon. So when it wraps all these filaments again and again around its body and make a proper layer of these filaments, then we call it as a cocoon. Okay, so at this stage it is called as cocoon. So cocoon is a silky case spun by larvae of silkworm or other insects. So after that, the silkworm enters the pupa stage. The pupa grows inside the cocoon. Now children, when it forms a cocoon, now inside the cocoon, that third stage now comes, means from larva it convert into pupa stage. Okay, whatever worm stage present inside the cocoon, that is called pupa. So once the pupa matures, it turns into a moth and emerges from the cocoon. So when pupa matures, then it will turn into a moth like structure. Moth means which has wings, and these wings are not present in the other stages of its life. So when these moth-like structures are converting from the pupa stage, then we can say it is a mature silk moth. Okay, silk moth, or we can say silkworm. So silk threads are derived from the cocoon of silkworm. So children, in the form of diagrams also I can explain you. You can see this is a male and this is a female silk moth. After mating, male and female lays eggs on the mulberry leaves. So these are the eggs. So it is the first stage. After the egg, larva comes out. This is the larva of silkworm. Okay, and this larva, it is just like a caterpillar. So when this larva comes out from these eggs, this larva start feeding on the mulberry leaves, and it increases into some centimeter length. So when it increases its size, at that time, now it wraps white color thread, silky thread around itself, and then it will change into pupa. This stage is they have shown inside this pupa. This is a cocoon actually, and when they dissect this cocoon, that time we can see this kind of structure. And from the larva, when it wraps itself inside the cocoon, then it will change into pupa stage. Okay, so this is the pupa stage, and from the pupa stage again it will grow into the either male or female. So means adult form, adult silkworm moth. So in this way it completes its life cycle on the mulberry trees or mulberry leaves. So children, this is all about the life cycle of silk moth. So in the next class I'll explain you about the sericulture. Sericulture is a silk farming. In short, we can say it is a silk farming. Those people who doing this process, or who are involving in the culture of silk worms, their business, or we can say their occupation, is a sericulture. Okay, so sericulture is also a kind of branch of biology, and in which we can study about the silk moth and their life cycle, and how to produce means how to get silk from the silk moth. These all the things we will study under this part. So this way I'll explain you in the next class. So by the time you prepare whatever I have explained you today, and this is the important part, children. These all the diagrams are also important. You should know what stage will come after which stage. So you should revise all the stages of its life cycle. In the junior classes also you have studied all these. So children, In the next class, I'll continue with your sericulture and how to proceed with the culture of silkworm and to get silk from silk moth. So, Jai Gurudev to all of you.